Welcome to Beacon English Podcast. That opening might sound familiar, but today we're doing something a bit different. We're not learning English. We're doing a deep dive into how English is taught. Our source material today is, well, it's pretty unusual for us. It's a very highly structured teaching script. It's designed for A to B1 English learners, and it's all about a daily routine.
Exactly. And our mission today is to, reverse engineer the thinking behind it, the pedagogy. Why is this very simple-looking script so incredibly effective?
Right.
We're going to pull out the specific linguistic nuggets, the little phrases, the conversational glue that'll let a student talk about their own life almost immediately. We're really looking under the hood here.
Okay, so let's unpack this slowly. We're analyzing the strategic choices, what the scriptwriters decided to teach, maybe what they left out, and why the whole story is built this way.
Yeah.
You'll find that the simplest choices are often the most profound when it comes to actual communication.
So the sources point to this really meticulous, universal structure. They often call it the learning loop.
The learning loop. Okay.
And this loop is, it's the foundation for building a beginner's confidence. First, the learner listens to the whole story. Listen one. And they probably feel a little overwhelmed.
Sure, yeah, trying to catch everything.
Then comes the detailed analysis. This is where you break down the key vocabulary, the grammar. And after that, they listen to the story a second time. Listen two.
So why that repetition? Why dedicate so much time to it? If the goal is speed, why not just analyze it once and then, move on?
Well, the structure is a little designed very specifically to engineer a really quick confidence boost.
Ah, okay.
During that first listen, the learner is struggling. Maybe they catch one word in three. But after the analysis, after we explain a word like around or a phrase like clean up, everything is suddenly contextualized.
So the second listen is intentionally easier.
So much easier. It's a real aha moment for them. They hear those simple words they just learned, they can follow the story, and they suddenly realize, wow, I understand the whole thing now. That feeling of success is just crucial for keeping them motivated.
That really reframes it. It's not just repetition, it's a strategy built on creating a reward. The reward is understanding. Now, let's look at the subject they chose. Emma, a 22-year-old university student, small apartment near campus. Why her? Why not, say, a professional with a standard 9 to 5? Doesn't that feel a bit limiting?
That's a great question, and the choice is actually super strategic. Emma's activities, while simple, are almost universal. They're highly transferable.
How so?
Well, she makes coffee, she goes to classes, she studies, she cooks something simple for dinner, she uses her phone. Whether you're a student, a parent, or working part-time, you can relate to those actions.
So the idea is, if a learner can describe Emma's day,
they immediately have the basic building blocks to describe their own day, no matter what their job is.
So the universality of the actions making coffee, studying, that's more important than her specific job title. It's all about high-frequency life events.
Precisely. The language becomes immediately applicable, and for this level, that's really the only metric that matters.
Okay, let's get into the weeds then. Let's talk about the specific linguistic tools that make this script work, starting with the language of time.
The first and maybe most critical little word here is around. Emma says, I usually wake up around 7 in the morning.
And she leaves home around 8.
Right.
I get that around means approximately, but why is that so important? Why not just teach them to say, I wake up at 7? It seems simpler.
Because teaching at 7 makes the learner sound, well, rigid, almost robotic, like a train schedule.
Ah, right.
In real everyday conversation, we rarely specify the exact time unless we have to. If you always say at 7, at 8, you just don't sound natural. The word around is a kind of social lubricant.
So it's not just a word, it's a cultural cue about being flexible with time.
Exactly that. It shows the script is teaching real conversational English. Around 7 means, maybe it's 6.55, maybe it's 7.05. It helps the learner move away from a very literal translation they might have in their own language and sound more like a native speaker.
That's a really subtle but powerful point. Okay, moving on from time, the script then tackles a really common point of confusion, differentiating two simple verbs. Emma says, I stay in bed for a few minutes, then I get up.
And this is a vital distinction for learners at this level. Wake up is just the mental action. You stop sleeping, but get up is the physical action of actually leaving the bed.
I can definitely relate to this one. We all need those few extra minutes to scroll on our phones, right? The script actually normalizes that.
It does.
You can wake up at 7, but only get up at, say, 7:15. By splitting those two, the learner can describe that little gap in their own day.
And it's that relatability that helps the vocabulary stick. Now, staying on habits, the script also uses frequency adverbs really well.
Right. Emma says, during breaks, we often go to the cafeteria.
And I sometimes have more classes or group projects.
So these words, often and sometimes, they're essential for describing routines without getting into really complex grammar.
They map out a whole spectrum of how regular something is. The teaching material explains that often means many times, but not always. It's more than sometimes.
And the placement is key too, right? They usually come before the main verb.
Yes, which gives the learner a template they can use immediately for anything. I often study. I sometimes watch TV. It's grammar and meaning all in one package.
Okay, that brings us from these general ideas of time and frequency into the specific actions of her day. Let's talk about meals. She mentions preparing a quick breakfast.
Toast with jam, a cup of tea.
And cooking something simple for dinner, like pasta or soup.
The choice of quick and simple is so intentional. The script isn't trying to teach a bunch of food vocabulary. It's teaching practical adjectives for daily life.
For logistics.
Exactly. A busy student doesn't cook a 5-course meal. They cook something fast and easy. These words describe tasks. If the script used words like delicious or gourmet, it would completely shift the focus.
That makes a lot of sense. Prioritizing utility. And speaking of utility, the next sentence frame is maybe the most useful one in the entire script. She says, it only takes me 10 minutes to get there.
Oh, this is a powerhouse phrase. It takes me.
Yeah.
Is how we talk about how long any task requires. Travel, cooking, homework, anything.
But I want to challenge the pedagogy here a little. For a beginner, isn't that impersonal? It's a bit confusing. It doesn't refer to a thing. It refers to time itself. That seems like a big grammatical leap.
That's a very sharp observation. And you're right, grammatically it is complex. But here's the thing. It's basically unavoidable if you want to talk about duration in English.
There's no other simple way to say it.
Not really. So the writers know that even though the grammar is tricky, the utility is so high, they have to introduce it right away. They give the learner a simple frame. It takes me plus time plus to plus verb. It's a shortcut that bypasses a long grammar lesson and just gives them a functional tool.
So they just memorize the pattern because it's so obviously useful. The sources give other examples like, it takes me 20 minutes to drive to work.
Or the question form, how long does it take you to cook dinner? It just unlocks a whole new area of conversation about planning and time.
Right. Okay, now let's look at movement. Emma says, on the way, I sometimes stop at a small market. What's the key context that on the way gives us?
It's all about convenience and location. On the way means it's happening during her journey from point A, the university, to point B, her apartment. The market is right there on her route.
So she's not making a special trip. She's saying this market is a convenient thing I can do as part of a journey I'm already making.
Precisely. It implies minimal extra effort. It teaches learners how to talk about integrated activities. After that, she finally gets home, and she says she will change into comfortable clothes and rest for a while.
And for a while is another one of those flexible, non-specific phrases, like around.
It is, yeah. But for a duration of time, it means a short, undefined period. Could be half an hour, could be an hour. It's relaxing language. We don't usually time our rest periods down to the minute.
It sounds more natural than saying I rested for 47 minutes.
Which more?
So we're getting near the end of Emma's day. Before she settles down, she has to do some chores. She says, I clean up the kitchen.
And this introduces a really crucial phrasal verb, clean up. A lot of learners know the word clean, but clean up has a very specific meaning that's much more common in this context.
Let me push back on this one too. Why teach clean up? A phrasal verb is harder for a beginner. Why not just teach tidy or stick with clean?
It's a fair point. It is harder grammatically. But contextually, it's essential. Clean up specifically means restoring order after you've made a mess.
Like after cooking.
Right. Washing the dishes, wiping the counter after cooking and eating. If she just said, I clean the kitchen, it sounds like a big weekly job, scrubbing the floors. Clean up perfectly captures that immediate post-meal tidying.
So it's the language of daily maintenance, not deep sanitation.
Exactly right. And that specificity makes it worth teaching, even if it's a bit tricky. And finally, the script ends with a completely modern, relatable action.
I check my phone one last time before turning off the light.
Yes.
This just confirms the script is teaching real, current English. It validates a habit that, let's be honest, almost everyone has.
It makes Emma feel current. It's a nod to modern life. If the script had her winding an old clock or something, the whole thing would feel dated. Teaching relevant actions is key.
So let's recap the power of these little phrases. We've got around, takes me, on the way for a while, and clean up. If you take those out, the script is just a flat list of verbs.
They are the connection points, the anchor words that turn a rigid schedule into a flowing, natural story. And the success of the teaching method is right there in the structure. The script took these simple words, put them in a story, and then that second listen becomes crystal clear. It creates an immediate feeling of fluency.
See, understanding these little connecting words, like the difference between wake up and get up, that's often the real key to moving past that beginner plateau. It's more important than memorizing tons of obscure vocabulary.
Absolutely. The learner walks away feeling like they succeeded, and they have the exact language they need for probably the most common conversation they'll ever have, talking about their own life.
So here's a final provocative thought for you, our listener, to think about. Emma's script describes a busy but, enjoyable life. She ends by saying she enjoys learning and living on her own. So consider this. Using only the simple, high-frequency words and phrases we analyzed today. Things like around, often, quick, takes me, clean up. How much of your own busy, complicated life could you accurately describe right now?
We'd really encourage you to try it. Just try to narrate 5 or 10 minutes of your own day using only these building blocks. That practice will show you just how powerful these simple linguistic anchors really are.
Take the time, practice with them, and let them become a natural part of how you speak. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth analysis. We look forward to our next deep dive into the fascinating structure of knowledge.